All right, top 5 NIL misconceptions, and this is kind of curated from what we see on the chat room, what people comment. Kind of want to address these things just to put it out there that, because there's certain things that, I don't know, we kind of have to repeat it. I thought we have this video, they can refer to it and go back as an educational tool, because that's what we're here for. Number 5, that it has to be all or nothing. And when I say all or nothing, a lot of people think on either side of the issue that they can't have anything or it has to be completely free and open. There's a middle ground for it. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get there given the way that it started, but there's a middle ground where everybody can move through this and be happy, and there could have been for a long time, but maybe it's too late for that. But just because, and we've said this all week, just because we say there needs to be some sort of reining into this doesn't mean that it's reining in means ending it. No, it just means figuring out a way that it's not so chaotic and driven by boosters.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all or nothing, like you said. I do feel like people probably feel that way. But, yeah, I mean, that's all I think look at the headlines from the last 24 hours. Coaches are begging for help. They're going to the government to try and get help. I mean, clearly it's not just the smaller schools that are dealing with this. And then, you even get a wake-up call when you're at Texas and you go, oh, wait, we can't just go grab all of Alabama's backups. We got to worry about, re-recruiting Xavier Worthy and probably Bijan and probably, whoever else. I mean, yeah, it's not just the small schools that are getting affected, but yeah, it's not all or nothing either. It's not that north and south.
Yeah. Number 4, that it can't be regulated. Now, it hasn't been regulated. It can be, but it's going to take the NCAA reforming itself. It's going to take Congress addressing that reform and moving forward. So it's going to be a long time before it is. Like I said before, you can go and talk to all the senators you want, and I don't care how powerful Greg Sankey is. In this regard, he's kind of powerless to do anything. And I don't know how motivated he really is to do it, but the coaches are asking them to do it and regulate it. But again, Congress isn't going to do anything until the NCAA shows it has some sort of plan for what it actually is moving forward.
I don't know what the hell anyone can do.
I'm saying too, man. I don't even know. Can it be regulated? Can it?
I think you can. I don't know if it will.
Yeah. So I definitely don't think it will be anytime soon regulated, at least from the government standpoint. But yeah, what can they or are they willing to even do? Because every quote that I've seen from a politician seems to hate the NCAA and hate everything that they've stood for and believe in, and they are looking to basically just let the floods go as far as, pay for play or pay for players. So I don't think the government's the ally they think they are in this argument. That's where I'm coming from. I think that they are not necessarily all in favor of the way that it is, but I think they're more in favor of the way that it is right now than the way that it was. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Number 3, that it is in conflict with the whole idea of college athletics. I think this is the one that really got the NCAA in trouble, is they never once accepted the fact that 2 trains can run on parallel tracks and be fine and not intersect. They always thought they were going to collide at some point. Now that they kind of made it that way, but they could have made it run on parallel tracks. You can make money and be a college athlete.
If 20 years ago they would have just said something about even the cost of living or other opportunities to have a job, they could have curtailed this, or at least it would have been dummied down a little bit from what is now not a train wreck, that's the wrong word, but what is now chaos.
Yeah.
Whether it's good chaos or not. But they could have gotten ahead of the curve, no question, and they didn't.
Well, it doesn't conflict with it the way people seem to think. It's not like not college football any longer just because players are getting some money, but I do think we're heading very quickly in the direction where it is going to conflict with the idea of college athletics. And no, I don't mean the idea of getting free output from athletes for just scholarships and things like that. But the more that we see a guy join a team and then bolt a team a year later just because somebody offered him millions of dollars, again, that's great for the players and there's nothing you can do about that. But I don't think that's what college athletics was intended to be, was just every year a guy just jumps.
No.
Like we saw the guy who's been at 5 schools in 5 years. Now, that's not all NIL related. That's just obviously something's going on with that young man that he's had that much change. But yeah, it's not right now, but it very well could if it keeps going. The more extreme examples keep piling up.
By the way, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. I'll wait until afterwards.
All right. Number 2, and this is maybe the biggest one that we see, that the money comes from the schools and not boosters. No, the money comes from boosters. The schools don't have anything directly. I mean, they're not paying this directly. Now, are they, making sure that they have collectives and promoting that and getting that all done? Yes, but I've seen it a couple times. Like, well, if you have a scholarship, you shouldn't be able to make money, or you can't one or the other. Well, the school's not paying both. The boosters are paying the NIL or pay for play money. That's what they're paying. The school's not paying that. So it's not. This is all in the schools.
We got text, chat, whatever. Have the schools each have a salary cap. Again, they're not the ones in control of this. And
then that runs into employee stuff. That's basically when then you start taking your steps towards, basically claiming that college athletes are full-born employees, right? I mean, that's basically what you would turn into if you start enacting things like salary caps, because then if you're enacting and I agree with you that it would be better probably for the schools if it was that way, but for the players, no, they can argue like, no, you can't put a cap on how much I'm worth. You can't tell me that I can't make $10 million and that I can only make $2 million, because then that turns into a massive lawsuit that the players would certainly win, because again, you can't put a cap on these guys, and you've tried to put caps on them this entire time, which is why we've arrived at this point. So, yeah, I don't think a salary cap deal would really work, because I think that's asking for lawsuits pretty much right away that the schools would not win.
Well, look, and for all the people who are against this, essentially what NIL was before it turned into pay for play. But the idea of NIL and the reason it got through was the idea that you can't own your own name because you're going to college is profoundly un-American. Like, that is it. You don't own your own name because you're going to college. So it was correcting a wrong, but the unintended or expected consequences or hopeful consequences for, I'm sure, a lot of boosters out there saying, well, change this and then I can do what I've always wanted to do without having to lurk around in the shadows, but that's what it is. And number 1, that all college athletes are destitute. I think that's changed. Look, people come from all walks of life. There are different financial things, but there is this battle for the people who are all or nothing, all NIL or nothing, like I said at the number 5, that everyone is destitute and they're not getting anything and all that. That was certainly the case in the past, but things have been improved.
That was the case for a few people in
the past. But things have improved.
Go drive into a college athletics facility parking lot and watch the athletes who they get out of their cars. And are some that struggle, and it's sad, that come from tough situations. But, yeah, I do think that the fact that I'm glad that they're getting money, but to sit there and think that everyone's poor, I think that's probably a little bit lazy.
Yeah, no, it's just wrong is what it is to act like every single college football player, just the ones that you want to selectively pick, or they're in that category. No, there's plenty of guys that are just fine, coming from fine backgrounds, but there are a lot of guys who don't, and that's certainly not everybody. I think it probably averages out pretty equally ultimately when you spread it all out. But I do think that, if you are rooting against NIL in any way and that these guys don't need the money or shouldn't be getting the money, well, there are a lot of guys who do come from impoverished backgrounds or rough backgrounds who this is their way to get money. This is their way to change their family's fortunes. This is a way to change the complete path of their family moving forward for maybe generations to come, based on the hundreds of thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars they're making. Because all these players are not just getting, $10,000 and going and spending it on clothes and all that. Guarantee you there's a good portion of them are sending back home to help mom pay rent, or help dad fix his car, or help your sister get whatever, And so there's a lot of that's not even taken into account. All this money ain't just flashy for Instagram, even though some idiots probably will, waste the opportunity because that's just, averages. But I think the majority are either just benefiting from it individually or it's benefiting their families. And I don't see the problem with that. I think that's good. I think there's too much of a gap between the haves and the have-nots in this country, much less college football. And if the way to kind of even that out is for an 18-year-old kid who's really good at football to make $100,000 and help his family that's, not in a good situation, then I think that's a great thing, because that's about the only way for it to happen. I mean, in this world today, in this country today, to be able to change your life like that, we're all kind of, bottled up in some ways. And I think this is great in that regard.
All right. Thanks to everybody.